My first tip is that I'm actually saying is be truthful.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say this is because when these tips stop, top tips to help stop believing in your thoughts, a thought comes in, and I'm talking about a negative thought. A thought comes in and you go, oh, that's cobwash, or that's rubbish, or go away, I haven't got time for that. Like any of those things, anything that comes up twice into your thoughts is clearly something for you to resolve, dissolve, whatever you want to call it. It's coming up
Unpack
because
in some way. Yeah.
because there's an awareness of something going on. So you've got to be truthful and acknowledge, and then I'm going to say truthful and acknowledge. Be truthful that there is something there.
Mm-hmm.
Like be truthful of something there, and then acknowledge it. Go, okay, right.
Debz is a stressologist. She will stretch your mindset to think bigger than you've ever thought before, with follow-through techniques that are realistic and achievable to blow any fear out of your mind. Moira is a mindset cultivator. She will help you align your personal trinity of self-trust, inner awareness, and self-confidence so that you discover and share your unique gifts and purpose. Together, their goal with these conversations is to share how our inclinations do not always work in our best interest and to provide the knowledge to leverage the gifts that already exist within each one of us. Their desire is to help you learn how to access the habits and behaviors that will lead to positive change and your best quality of life. Welcome to your deliciously motivated mindset.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Here we are. Here we are with another one of our awesome, auspicious conversations. This is our Deliciously Motivated Mindset podcast with Debz, that's Debz
Me.
over there, and Moira, that's me. Welcome, dear listeners. We have a good one here for you today. Of course, the fact that you're here and that we're here is always going to make it a good one. But I'm looking forward to this conversation. I think we're going to uncover and riff on some pretty cool pieces. We're going to talk about top tips to help stop believing in your thoughts. Such an important part, such an important technique even, I would think.
It's insane. It can just drive us insane. Definitely. It will be a goodie.
Yes, it will. So, dear listeners, before we get started, if you've been with us before, welcome. And if you haven't, welcome, welcome. We do a little assessment check-in, and we reference it as our PEMS check-in. And what we're doing is we're checking on our 4 main pillars of who we are. So that's our physical well-being, emotional, mental, and spiritual. And we use a scale of 0 to 10. 0 is where everything's just peachy and you're zen and peaceful and flowing and harmonious, present. And then sliding all the way up to the other end of that spectrum is 10, where you're discombobulated and stuck and oh my God. And then we move up and down. Oh, and we can actually go beyond that 10. I know I have. But it's not to get caught
those
up.
10s come in when I'm traveling. they come in when they go, oh, the plane's delayed and you've got like 3 planes to catch, or you've got something, or there's problems, and you're like, and you could easily go from a 2, yep, I'm on my way, things are beautiful, to that, and you're like, what?
12 to 12. OMG.
Yeah, beyond. Yeah, that's it.
And so it's not about getting this right or anything. It's a simple tool to assess yourself. And this is one of the best mindset tips, is to assess and tell yourself the truth about what's going on. We're not allowed to use the F word when you say, how are you feeling? And everybody's looking at the podcast recording thing saying, what is she talking about? And that
Hang on, that'll be Deborah. We know what she's going to say.
The F word I'm referring to is fine, because that's kind of dismissing wherever you are on that scale. So all that being said, we're going to assess where we are here and now before we start our conversation. And so we encourage you to just make a wee note of your number and then check in with yourself at the halfway point, and then we'll all check in at the end of our conversation. Of course, our intention with these conversations is always to meet you wherever you're at on that scale, and then gently, kindly, lovingly, supportively take you towards that 0. So all that being said, my dear Deb, where are you?
I'm a 3 because I would have said a 2, and I'm in a beautiful different surroundings. I'm actually down with my parents, and we're in Cromwell, New Zealand, so it's a little bit closer to Queensland. So I've got beautiful, just everything's just divine around me.
Yeah,
But
beautiful scenery.
just stunning. But just before I get on this call, and I'm like, come on. So I'm going to say a 3. But I probably would have said a 1 because everything just seems to be beautiful this morning. But I'm going to say a 3 definitely because it's a him bug.
There's something there. There. For me, I'm putting myself at a 2. Overall, I'm feeling really good, but I have a bit of a scratchiness in my throat too, and I had to pause before we got started to kind of make sure my throat's not dry. And so we'll see. Usually when something like that happens, it's kind of like a discovery piece or like a tap on my shoulder to sort of say, make sure this gets brought into our conversation. So that's why I'm kind of putting myself at just putting that on a watchful part. So all that being said, it's as simple as that, listeners, is just to assess and feel into it and go, oh yeah, I'm feeling this because, and not necessarily get into a whole bunch of thoughts, because that's what we're going to unpack today, is not believing in those thoughts. But so what we encourage you to grab a note-taking device, pen, pencil, paper, electronics, whatever you use to yeah, because we want to really dive into this and get into tips. So let's get started with this. What does that suggest to you about the idea of stop believing in your thoughts? What does that kind of suggest to you, Deb?
Oh, there's even when I was just reading the title, I went, well, there's 10 little tips right there. My head just went ran on this whole thing. But I think I would like to say this is an important one. This is definitely an important one here because it can throw us out from our day, just as simple as the 0 to 10 PEMS check-in. But I actually would like to say my first tip is I'm actually saying is be truthful. And when I say this is because when these tips stop, top tips to help stop believing in your thoughts, a thought comes in, and I'm talking about a negative thought. A thought comes in and you go, oh, that's cobwash, or that's rubbish, or go away, I haven't got time for that. Like any of those things, anything that comes up twice into your thoughts is clearly something for you to dissolve, whatever you want to call it. It's coming up
unpack in some way.
Yeah, because there's an awareness of something going on. So you've got to be truthful and acknowledge, and then I'm going to say truthful and acknowledge. Be truthful that there is something there. Like be truthful with something there, and then acknowledge it. Go, okay, right. When you deal with it, it's another story and whatever, or how you want to do your tips. But if you're not truthful to this thought coming in, you're not honoring yourself, your thoughts, your mind, what's actually happening. Does that all make sense? I think I just went on a whole tangent then. I should just say be truthful and acknowledge.
Well, I think it's an important part because this is the thing about stop believing in your thoughts. For myself, I'm not going to say just the negative ones. I'm going to say all of them. Because the thing that comes to my mind when I'm framing this one up is that, you know that saying, we make plans and God laughs?
Oh, yeah.
So what I'm saying is that our thoughts, whether they're negative or positive, they can be based on assumptions or generalities or lack of information. And really, it's to really allow yourself to synthesize. So it's about having a synthesis between your feelings and your thoughts, because your feelings can actually help you discover the best choice and the best way forward.
Yep.
So my tip is to ask yourself, how do I feel about myself? You have heard me say this one so many times, and I'm sure you have too, listeners. How do I feel about myself when I'm thinking these thoughts? So if I feel uplifted and in alignment and aware of what my purpose is and what my choices are, then that's great. But if I feel undermined or anxious or worried or weary, then there's something and to your point too, you just said, it's about having an awareness, and maybe it is coming up for you to unpack and decipher and get the guidance from, right?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I think we have to stop any fear that comes in, because these thoughts that come in, they're there for a reason, the season, all that sort of stuff. So it's watching that fear
Truly
as well.
Yeah. Well, so what is it? To feel the fear and rise up anyways, or
Feel the fear,
also
do it anyway. Something. Yeah.
And then that's fear, false evidence appearing real. So that's the other reason why we can't believe it.
Yeah, and I think we I mean, for me, I've been more and more when people say, "Oh, this came in, this is in my head, and it's just, it's just rubbish, and it's this, and this," and I'm like, you know what? If it comes into your head, it's real, because it's your thoughts. But then unpack it and go, where did that come? Like, actually start visualizing, is this real? Because if it's coming to your head, it's real. You truly believe it because it's sitting there. But then you can actually unpack it and go, oh no, this actually comes from my auntie's, grandmother's, sister's, cousins, neighbors.
It's
dog
an
owner
inherited thing. Yeah.
That I got when I was 3 years old, and I'm now 80. So so no, this is actually not my stuff. I've just had that attached to me. And so I think it's important to acknowledge it's real for you at that moment, but to actually go to dig out, I guess, where it came from, or
so this is like becoming a wee bit of a detective on yourself.
Yeah,
right? It's like
and that's a detective.
That's a great tip though, because if the thought is taking up space in your thinking process, it's real. It's real to you. However, thoughts become things, as we all know. Everything that we see in physicality around us began as a thought. And so we are powerful creator beings. And so if we have a thought of, oh my God, this is going to happen, well, there's a reality in there for you to unpack and to become the boss of. So it's about being the observed and the observer with these thoughts. You are not that thought. You are the observer of it, right?
Yeah. And that all then it comes down to, don't worry. Look, going back to that fear, like, it's okay. And I guess when I think that, you've been through I say it often, you've been through situations before, you're going to get through them again. They may come out a different result as last time, and that fully depends on your PEMS. I'd have to say that if you've had a good sleep, your whole outcome is going to be very differently handled when you're in that space. But just remind yourself that you've been through things before.
Yeah, and that you are more resilient than sometimes your thinking would have you believe. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
So sometimes a thought might be spiraling you into like chaos, thinking, oh my God, but what about this, and what about this, and why? And it's
the marathon runner.
Exactly. But that part about that you've been through things before, you've got this. It's okay. I've got this. And here's the other part about it too, is that it is okay to not know the solution and still trust that it will show up, that you'll recognize it, and not necessarily have to reason it out or be rational or logical in your head. Because sometimes that's when we can just tap into, oh, I feel okay. I feel safe. I feel good. I feel secure. I feel in alignment. I feel uplifted. I feel happy. Those are all such beautiful indicators that keep feeling those thoughts or keep feeling those emotions and allow the thoughts to, follow on, create more of that. What makes your heart sing?
Yeah, and I think that alone is, what do you feel, is actually just a whole tip on its own.
Yes.
Yep. Like, what do you feel? And then it goes back to that very first one, is be truthful.
Yeah. And that's why I say about don't use the F word, because, oh, I'm fine. I'm fine. That can sometimes be, we can even tell ourselves that, oh yeah, I'm fine. Well, no, if I just pause for a wee minute and breathe, I might be feeling a little bit anxious or a little bit nervous about something, or I might have some kind of anxiety coming up, but I'm not going to be aware of it until I sit and tell myself the truth about what kind of thoughts, what's the quality, what's the caliber of thoughts that are, floating on by. But it's it's about cleaning them up too.
Yeah, and I think I think about this, and the wording comes up, you are not a bother. So when you say to somebody else, I'm fine, people know that you're BSing them. Like, they're often knowing that you're like, well, clearly you're not, because you're sitting here trapped and this and this is happening to you, and you're pretty freaking broken right now, so you're clearly not that fine. What's your scale of fine? 2 broken arms, 2 broken legs, and you know, da da da. Oh yeah, I'm fine. So I think that's that. If people, and I'm gonna say that I'm gonna crunch this down to help. You have help. Get help with whatever's going on in your mind. And I'm going to say Moira and I, but first I'm going to say you're not a bother to people. And I think that's that thing, is just saying to someone, hey, I just need some time out. Can you look after the kids? I just have to go and do something. Can you just help me a little bit? Or if you're at the shops, can you get me that extra thing of milk or something? Like, people don't ask you, do you want a hand with anything, if they generally don't mean it. Yes, there's a little bit of obligation in some things, but at the end of the day, I generally say, are you okay? Because I generally mean, are you okay? I'm not going to say it for points, brownie points, because I'm beyond brownie points for people. But I'm generally saying, are you okay? Because I want to know if you're okay. Like, I'm concerned about you. But you've got to have the right tribe around you. And I know Moira and I are incredibly good at what we do. So, and we have a different education style. You come out the other end unscathed and with a result. But definitely find the right tribe, and, I don't know. I don't really know how to say it. Just find the right tribe and reach out to Moira and I, or listen to a podcast. But if you're feeling like you can't dot your I's and cross your T's, then do something about it. Like, take action.
No, I like that. And the tip that I was feeling into, and I'm going to put this as a bit of a separate tip, the thing that came to my mind was about self-worth. Because I think that comes up a fair bit, like you're saying about you're not a bother. Well, something that I've noticed oftentimes is self-worthiness is low, because it's like, oh, I can't take time, or I can't ask for help. I need to work through this, because they haven't really acknowledged or aligned with the auspiciousness and the power, and that every person, every being on this planet is deserving of all of their wishes and dreams and things that light them up. So if you get, caught in believing a thought that says, I'll never amount to much, or I can't ask for help, or I have to resolve this problem all by myself because I created it. That I remember my dad used to say that. Well, you made your bed, you have to lie in it now.
We've all had that. Okay, I'll just lie here until I decide to make my bed differently.
Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks. But those are just thoughts, because that's the other part too. And you alluded to this already, Deb, is that when a thought comes up, you acknowledge it, but then you start saying, where did that come from? Who said that? Those are 2 very powerful questions you can ask yourself. Where did that come from, and who said that? The amount of times I've said that to people when they're telling me, oh, this is my thinking process, or I am like this. I am a procrastinator. I have no motivation.
Oh my God, procrastinating. That
yeah, that
cracks
one.
me up. People say, I'm a procrastinating queen. I'm like, no, you're not.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, you're queen. You can be a queen.
Yeah.
But so the thing is those two questions, they can be so quick and easy to help you realize, oh, that thought or that habit of labeling myself with those words or that paradigm or that way, it came from my school teacher or my parent or my sibling or something like way back 30, 40 years ago. So therefore, once you have that awareness, you can say thank you and let it go. It doesn't have to govern you anymore. Right?
Yeah, I think that's the other thing is, well, see, it's actually prioritizing it. It's prioritizing, to believe in your thoughts is prioritizing you. So, so when you prioritize you can decide if you want to deal with it there and then, or if you want to diary it to deal with it, or if you like anything you want to do, but prioritize you. You have to be right. If this is bugging you, then you have to do something about it. If it's not bugging you, then, don't do anything about it.
Yeah, then just let it go. But stop thinking about it. Right?
Yeah.
Because if it keeps repeating, then there's some piece of guidance there for you. Right? That you need to say, okay, it keeps coming up. So therefore I need to sit down and say, hello, friend. What are you here for?
Yeah. And what I was just talking about that yesterday on a call with a lady, one of our girls in our group call, and she started talking about a dream. And she said, I had the dream like 6 days in a row. And she was like, okay, I'm definitely going to have to deal with this. And when she sat down and journaled it, the answer came straight to her. But she said, and I said, how do you remember your dream? She goes, I just remember parts of it. And there happened to be the same part over and over, because I'm like, I don't remember all my dreams. I wake up in the morning, I'm like, wow, I must have had a good dream last night. I feel revived, or whatever, or a truck must have run over me, or any of those things, but I could never remember them. She's like, oh no, it just kept coming and coming. And I'm like, yeah. So I think that's the other thing is recognize the signs.
Yes. Recognize the signs and hold space for yourself for when you say, okay, I need to sit and journal this, or tell myself the truth that this keeps coming up and I need, right? Because I find that too. If I have something that keeps coming up, repetitive part, whether it's a dream or just words, even sometimes I find that I'm just speaking and riffing away and I have kind of a sense of myself watching over my shoulder, and that's interesting. You're using this phrasing a fair bit, like I don't have enough time, or those kind of things. So then it's kind of like, okay, let's sit and write that down and kind of unpack it, right? Unpack it and say, so what's here? And I find that when we do that, it does come immediately, right? Because that's us allowing ourselves to come into the wisdom. Whereas these thoughts, and that's what we're talking about, is stop believing in your thoughts. The thoughts are coming from oh my God, I'm not safe. I'm in danger. There's chaos happening. I'm on a crazy train. That's all. It's looping. And so when we sit down and go, okay, and just, press pause for a moment and ask for the intel, ask for the guidance, the wisdom. And wisdom goes, okay, here, this is why it's been happening. Right?
Yeah. And I think you just then you said that word wisdom. And I think that's the other thing, is instead of actually saying something like our thoughts, our negative thoughts, or any of that sort of stuff, reframing them to wisdom makes a massive difference. And it's just reframing those little words to being something that's important.
Yeah. But I think that it's important to understand the nuances of how our conscious and unconscious thinking processes can happen, right? So you might have something that you've stuffed down for a long time that's actually not part of the most healthy choice-based thinking pattern, right?
I know.
So then you kind of go, the only reason this is happening is because there's wisdom or something that I've missed. So what is it? And as soon as because that's something that I've asked before too. I've said, if I knew the answer, what would it be? So right there, all of my thoughts might have been like, you're never going to figure this out. You don't know the answer. You don't, the last time you made the choice, it screwed up, blah, 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 blah. But if I stop, that's what I'm saying. That's what this tip is press pause to say, okay, I know this crazy blah, blah, blah is happening. Press pause and say, if I knew the answer, what would it be? And as soon as I do that, I access my heart wisdom. The wisdom is like, oh, just do this. Okay, good. There. I didn't have to listen or believe in any of those other thoughts that said something else or would have me go a different way. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I love that. And I want to also add that you don't have to take other people's thoughts on.
Oh, yes. That's powerfully important.
Like, they've got their own life book. You can read their chapter and, but you don't have to take other people's thoughts.
Other people's thoughts or paradigms or patterns.
Or energies and I know Moira and I do that for a job. So like, even just saying job feels weird for a lifestyle, and we get paid for it. But we don't take your stuff on.
No,
we literally. I'm looking at Moira trying to explain it to Moira. We don't take your stuff on, Moira.
No, we don't. But we don't.
No, we don't. We literally see ourselves as an observer on your world, and we can find solutions and we can help guide you through it. But when we've finished with that call with you, we don't go in. Well, I don't. No, Moira won't.
No, absolutely
like
not.
once I've done, I'm done. Yeah. Like when I end that call, I'm done with you. And sometimes I'll journal or I'll wrap up whatever it is in my office with you, so it's that book is fully closed. But you don't have to take on other people's thoughts. Yeah, that's some of it.
No, and you can visit them. You can visit them, and you can hold space for them, because that's really a big piece of what I do. Is I'll hold space. I can hold space and witness, and even reflect back what has been said. But it's not a case of me taking them on. It's about It's an informed choice.
Yes, yeah, we don't. So seeing a smorgasbord of food, you don't have to have everything that's out there. Put everything on the plate. If it's said like that.
Yes. Yeah. But so here, that's actually really good piece. I like that. So this is the tip, is trust.
A quick wee message before we get back to this episode. You can get access to a special gift Moira and Debz have put together for you. Go to deliciouslymotivatedmindset.com/gift. When you sign up, you'll receive instant access to an inner peace kit and the 30 Days of Wisdom program, both of which is intended to help you feel deliciously motivated right away. Go to deliciouslymotivatedmindset.com/gift.
We did truthful, but trust. I don't know.
Have we not talked about trust? Yeah.
So see, trust, how I did kind of allude to this earlier when I said that if you're in a pickle or in a situation where there's an obstacle coming up or an issue that needs to be overcome or dealt with, and maybe your thinking mind is like, oh my God, I have to figure this out. I have to see it. I have to explain it. I have to plan it out or do a step-by-step plan. But if I can't see it, it doesn't mean that it's not there. But I trust my own creative power. I trust the power of the universe. I trust that I am always in the right place at the right time. So therefore, I can actually just let go and flow with what can I do in this moment, not get caught up in thinking processes that would, take me out of that kind of trusting. Yeah.
I think, and so when we go trust, I think the other thing is get clear on what your desire is. Don't be rigid on it. Like, like I want a house and I want all these things, and that's the only way I'm going to have that house. And if they've only got 9 out of the 10 things, it's still not right. So don't be completely rigid, and I think that goes with that trust, is get clear on what your outcome or how you'd like the journey to be. Because the universe or God or who, whatever, friend, like, you're not going to get, if you're not clear, you're not going to have a clear run. I say the universe is just going to give you what it is.
Right.
And you're going to get the outcome, but the journey is going to be different. But if you're clear on that journey, this is what I'd like to have this around me, and I'd like to feel like this, then you're more likely to have it. Now, I'm also going to say that you have to not be so rigid in it being that way. So you could say, I want a pool that has to be a 10 by 10, like think of the house, 10 by 10 by blah, blah, blah. Okay, right, we've got a pool that's an 8 by 10. No, I want a 10 by 10. No, that's it. I have to have a 10 by 10. Don't even know if there is such a thing as a 10 by 10 pool, by the way. just think about that. But be a little bit flexible with your desire.
Well, but don't you think that it's of more importance to focus upon what it is you want to feel because of that desire? Oops. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, with this 10 by 10 idea, let's take
10
that
by 10 pool.
Let's take
Moira's
that 10
going
by
into
10.
winter and we're going to summer. Yeah,
I know. It's like, I don't want a pool right now.
Yeah.
But take that and then pause again and say, so what would I feel when I had that?
Yeah, definitely. Feeling is and that will help you with your thoughts. That will make you more aware of yourself.
Well, because you'll also find a lot more reasons to feel like that right here, right now, even though you don't have that pool. Right. So if it makes me feel relaxed and calm and happy, then now I can let go. And that's actually going to help with the rigidity, because now I can let go and say, actually, really what it is I want is to feel relaxed and calm.
And calm.
Right. And so, okay, good. Go get busy on being relaxed and calm. And that actually is such a beautiful way of releasing thoughts, because I said earlier in this conversation, we are very, very powerful creator beings. We create with our energy, not our thinking process. So our thinking process is like using that to create the steps or recognize, yep, I got this shoe on the right way and tie my laces up. But that it's like to relegate it to that. While how do I feel? I feel happy today. I feel in alignment with what it is I'm desiring. Right? I think it does have to keep coming back to that.
Yeah. And I think when you get that feeling and you feel like you're a 9 out of 10, and Pam's checking, that's okay. Because you can just go, okay, I'm a 9 out of 10. Okay, I want to feel like a 2 or a 1, but I'm a 9.
Yeah.
So don't beat yourself up that you're a 9 and this is not what I wanted, and all those things, going back to all those tips that we've given, because it's okay. You're a 9. That's it. Then we can deal with it. But until you acknowledge, see, and have an understanding of that, then you're on a downhill spiral. You're just going to take yourself off kilter.
Well, also because there feels like there'd be a bit of rigidity in there if you were getting into that, right? So the more we can just feel in flow and at ease and recognize that at all times we're creating what we're experiencing. And so if I'm creating something and I'm experiencing it and I don't like it, I just go, oh, I can uncreate this. I can change.
Well,
I can shift.
That's it. You can change it at any time. But I think that maybe that's a tip on its own. You can pivot. You can pivot at any time you make that choice.
Yes, you can turn on a dime. You can go up until this point. I thought in these ways.
Well, I can until they tell me that my flight's delayed, and I do turn on a dime. But maybe not the So yeah, pivot at any time.
Well, that you see that's the thing of I'm
Evolution.
thinking of different kind of conversations of where people have like, oh, this always happens to me, or the last time I was in this environment, it went this way and here it goes again.
Well, see, that's that
right
past stories,
there.
isn't it?
Yes. But there's where you can do a pivot. It's like, oh, happened this way last time, but I can actually make it something completely different. It's about choosing. So that's it. You can pivot at any point. You can change and you can choose something different. You can choose to tell a different story, right?
Well, you can choose, or you can stay in the same situation. Like either's fine. Like you can swipe left, swipe right, or stay moving forward.
But always remember that you choose. You're choosing.
Yeah, you choose.
So if you choose, but so then the thing is if I choose, I'm going to stay here in this situation, this sticky situation. I'm not going to continue telling a story about it. I'm saying, no, I'm choosing this. So to me, choosing needs to feel like I'm doing it on purpose, right?
Yeah, that's it. I'm making the choice because it feels right for me. There's a lot of feelings in here, isn't there?
There is. And so you see, that's why I'm saying, actually, I was reading an article the other day that was talking about, the chicken and egg thing. What comes first, the emotion or the thought? And there's a lot of discussion and debate around this. What comes first? Do you feel a certain emotion and then have all these thoughts about why you're doing that? Or do you have these types of thoughts and then have the feeling because of the thoughts are actually doing it? The truth of the matter, I believe, is that they're both very strongly connected.
I'm now trying to think. I think I do both.
I think I do both too. Yes, but I also think that
times I've done that. Yep.
The gift is in allowing the emotion to flow through me. Can actually be the piece that will stop the crazy thinking. Right? Because if I show up with an emotion that's some form of discombobulation and I try and run away from it, and there's lots of thinking going in there.
Oh, you can't do that.
Can't do that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So yeah, whether thought comes first or feeling comes first, they both need to be acknowledged and respected. I think respect is a big thing here too, not so much on the thoughts though.
Yeah, I'm actually going to put that back into our top one because we've got the acknowledge and respect, because I think there's a reason for everything. We may not know what that reason is, and truth is sometimes I don't even want to know. I'm just going to be honest. Sometimes there's no way I want to know what that reason is. I just go with the flow and go, okay, this is what I'm dealing with right now. I'm just going to go with it. But I think that respect is a really important one. It's respect yourself, respect your thoughts, respect your body, respect your soul, like respect what's going on around you.
Yeah.
Whether you like it or not.
Yeah, because there is going to be things you do like and things you don't like. It's about preference, right? So respect and understand it's all about preference. So it's a wee bit like you were talking about the smorgasbord. You go in and it's an all-you-can-eat buffet. Well, you can stand back and you can sample, but you don't have to go and fill your plate with every single dish that's on offer. So it's to respect yourself, to say, also, what am I feeling like?
Yeah, and when a smorgasbord is, you can taste a bit. And I think that's like...
That's what I mean by sampling it. Yeah.
You know, you can just go, oh, no, this doesn't feel right. Like, just start a little bit. Yep.
Yeah.
I think, and we haven't talked about it, gratitude. Fancy that. Fancy that. When these thoughts come in, and I'm a firm believer on celebrating, when you're positive or negative thoughts, whatever thoughts come in, celebrate that you've got something and there's been some evolution and you've got something to work on right here, right now. So celebrate that, but also be grateful that you're in this, because there's always a solution to every problem. If we label it a solution and a problem, there's always something, there's always an answer to everything. Absolutely. And you would not be put in this situation if you couldn't do it.
That's right.
If you couldn't do it. So I think that's the thing, is celebrate that you've got something to work on and be thankful that there's something to work on.
And it's a gift. There will be a gift in there. Sometimes your thinking might have you believe something else, but sometimes you need to just get through a situation, and the gift, or the gift will make itself known as you
Appear when
show
it's
up
ready.
and do it. But
Yeah.
that's by you saying, okay, what's my next step? This is my next step. This is what I'm drawn to doing now. This is the choice that I'm making at this point. Yeah. So good that you got gratitude and celebration and sparkle.
Yeah. Yes, sparkle, sparkle, sparkle. Well, so we're running in. We're cutting into our time. As a surprise, Moira, is there anything you'd like to say before I wrap it up?
I think we're going to go through the tips, and I'm sure there's more pieces. I think the big piece that I just brought that up, and we'll talk about it a bit more when we go through the points, is choose. How to stop believing in your thoughts. Always remember, you get to choose who you listen to, internally and externally. It's on you. And it's a gift. That is a gift. It's not a sentence. It's a gift.
Yeah, it is a gift. So I would like to start, because I did one thing written down, and then I lost the next four until I went, oh, that's right, I'm supposed to write these down. So because my pad was beside me, I was like, I wrote that down, and I was listening to you and we're talking, and then I was like, oh, hang on, I'm supposed to write these down. So people, grab yourself a pen and paper, that note-taking device, because we're just going to go as quick as we can, please, as quick as we can, to get the answers that are going to help you, the top tips to help you stop believing in your thoughts. So the first one I had is be truthful. Be truthful to yourself that there is something there. Acknowledge it, because it's there. Like, be truthful. Don't try and go, oh, I'm really I'm actually an 8 out of PEMS, and I'm saying I'm a 2. So just be truthful to yourself, because it's only lying to yourself. Acknowledge it. And then Moira added another one, which was respect. Respect yourself, respect your thoughts, respect others, just respect your soul and what you're here for. So that's my tip number 1. Now Moira's going to talk about the next lot, because I clearly didn't take notes.
Okay. Well, at some point you're gonna jump back in and go, oh, I do have.
Yeah, I'll give you the nod. I'll give you the nod when I'm there. Yeah.
So the next one I did write down, and it was kind of a reflecting on what you just said, but that was my question, was how does this make me feel about me? And so really using your emotions as guidance. So how does it make me feel about me when I'm thinking these thoughts, or believing this thought, or not believing that? Because we want to be calibrating ourselves with the feelings of feeling worthy and uplifted and on track and things like that. So how does this make me feel about me? One of my favorite questions, but I personally always do it with my hand on my heart, because to me that really helps me come into my feeling wisdom. So how does this make me feel about me? Using my emotions as a guide. The next one I had written down was to remember that you are not your thoughts. It's such an important piece to take this role of being the observed and the observer. So it's the observer that is witnessing those thoughts. So that's why it's such an important part to realize you don't have to believe them. You just kind of go, oh, look at this. You're feeling a bit down today, and this is the quality and the caliber of the thoughts going through. It's okay.
But also not saying this is a silly thought, this is a stupid thought, this is a dumb thought. No self-depreciating internal dialogue.
Yes. Yeah, that's a really important one, is not criticizing them, or because the observer, this is talking about like meditation speak. The observer is totally non-judgmental. The core essence of you is not judgmental. This is the connection with your higher self that kind of goes, oh, and that's where you deserve your own unconditional love. That it's like, okay, I'm having these type of thoughts. It's okay. We can
This is
always
it,
change something else. Yes. This next one is, and you did actually say it. This is when I was talking about saying, don't use the F word. If I say to you, how are you feeling? And you're not allowed to use the S word. I just like saying that one. And I'm referring to fine. And that's when you said, Deb, about you're not a bother. That
Yes.
right, is that everybody has gifts and uniqueness and worthiness. Because that's where I went into about self-worth. That every one of us has self-worth, and we are all worthy of everything that we could possibly dream of and ascribe to. So this is about, if you're feeling anything less than on top of your game and in alignment with your passion and following your heart's desire, then it's to get help. So if you are feeling discombobulated, and this is Deb
back now.
talking about
Got it now.
good. Was to ask for help, and that's when you said reach out to Deb or myself. And even if you don't reach out to our, find your support team, find your tribe, create your tribe that will help you get through whatever it is, the discombobulation problem issue, right?
I think that's a great one, because you said create your tribe, and people are like, oh, I don't want to make new friends or whatever. You don't have to go out and make new friends. You just have to go out and find, a couple of people who you can resonate with. And I just take that, got to make new friends. Just find somebody who you resonate with.
Yeah. And trust your own, how you can use that question. How does hooking up with this person make me feel about me? How does speaking to this person make me feel about me? If I feel nurtured and like I could bare my soul, then there's pieces that you can gravitate towards, right?
And that usually happens to us, isn't it? We just go somewhere and people just suddenly tell us everything. We're like, okay, yep, rightio.
Yep.
Which I'm grateful for. I'm grateful that I have that attraction that can help people do that.
Yeah, me too.
So I'm back on board now. I've now got
good.
my next one. And my next tip I had was, where did that come from and who said that?
Yeah. So this is your dialogue about your thought. Where did it come from?
Where did it come from and who said that? Because it could be something that's not even yours to take on, or could have been something that, who I was when I was at school is definitely not who I am now. Like, I've evolved many years since then. So where did that come from and who said that? And just be aware that you do change over time.
Yep. And sometimes just doing that is as simple as that can be enough to say, oh, that doesn't belong in the current scenario, so let it go, right? Don't need to believe that. The next one I had down here was to prioritize you. And so it is really to we were talking about not taking other people's energy or other people's thoughts on, prioritizing you, and I guess that maybe this how does this make me feel about me should have been the subtitle to our podcast title, because that applies here too, right? When we prioritize ourselves, it means I have the bandwidth and the capacity and the need to check in with me before I say yes or no to choices and decisions and preferences and what I do like and don't like, right?
Yeah. So the next one I had was recognize signs and be awake. Just keep your eyes open, and because there's signs out there for everything that are going on, and it's up to you if you see them, but don't be alarmed if you miss them. Oh, I missed that sign and now I get this, and that's fine. Just be aware, be present. And you'll see those signs.
Definitely. The next one I have is trust. I talked about this one. Trust that even if you can't see the solution or the best way forward, it is there. So then it's time for you to not get caught up in a story or some chattering that's happening in your mind, is to just say, okay, there's something I can do or I can turn my focus to, so follow that, rather than, and then say, I trust that just because I can't see the decision, the choice, the solution right now, as soon as you get into that way, then you're allowing yourself to open up to it. And it will come in. It always does.
And that was a beautiful one, because then we jump to get clear on your desire. What is it you actually desire?
Yeah.
And not being rigid with it, like not going, I need this and it has to be that exactly. So being that little bit flexible. But Moira also mentioned, when you're getting clear on your desires, how do you want to feel about that?
Yeah. Yeah.
And feelings are so important. Just to, if I want to feel frustrated, then go for it. I don't know if that's quite what we want to do.
Not really.
Yeah. Get clear on your desire. Yeah. And don't be rigid with it.
Yeah, I like that. And that actually was straight into the next one, was to remind us that we can always change. At any point we can pivot, turn on a dime. So it's like when we get clear on what it is we want, and get clear on what it is we want to feel with that thing that we say we want, and then it shows up or it lands, and then we go, oh, that's not actually what I thought or how I wanted to feel, so that's fine. You can pivot. You can go, okay, I'm taking the next off ramp. I'm going to some other destination, right?
You choose your world.
Yeah, well, that was the next point, right?
Oh, was that the next point? Okay. Well, you choose. There you go. If you're going to pivot, you choose.
Yeah. And but then that was when I was saying is that's an empowering thing, because you choose and you're doing it on purpose. I think you talked about that. If I choose to sit in chaos, then I'm going to celebrate it. I chose to sit here.
I chose to do that. Yes, I was just trying to think of something. Yes. And we do, the tip is celebrate that you've got something to work on, because we all want to have something to work on, whether you want it to be an extreme or not. There's always, don't let the grass grow underneath you is a very firm thing. So that, and then of course the old famous gratitude.
Yes.
We have gratitude and appreciation that you're here in this beautiful world and you're here to live it. So do it your way.
Yeah. And that's because you are an auspicious human being. You're actually an auspicious spiritual being having this human experience, and you are such a powerful, powerful creator that thoughts might have you, dialing down your creativity a little bit.
Dialing down, yeah.
The last tip I had one more, was to respect yourself, your situation, your choices, where you are, where you're not. But respecting yourself is a really, really important piece, and a really important part to up level your propensity to get stuck in the, mindset chatter, crazy making thinking, right?
Well, that sums up everything, doesn't it? The top tips to help stop living in your thoughts. Respect. There we go. End of conversation.
Yeah, I like that.
Wow, they were great ones today. They were great. What a conversation. I didn't know how this one was going to go. This has been
great.
Surprise.
I like these tips.
It's a beautiful one. So we're now wrapping up, and to wrap it up, we talked about our PEMS at the very start, and then at halfway point you did your check-in. So now we just do the final check-in of your PEMS, which is your physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. Moira, where are you at now?
I'm at a 0.5.
Ooh, 0.5. Oh, that's good, because I'm a 0.5, because all of a sudden, just in this last minute, I have sneezes and I have this, and I'm like, what is going on? So there's clearly something going on in my thoughts that's generated that. So I was a 3 and I'm now a 0.5 as well. So not quite a 0, but definitely shifted. Beautiful one we've done.
Yeah. So no, I shifted too. I just have a little bit of a tickle, not quite as aggressive as you do with those sneezes.
Yeah, mine's full on. I'm having to hit you very quickly, very, very quickly.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, listeners, for today. Thank you. Let us know what your number is. And if you liked today, because I'm sure you liked it to get this far to the very end, I'm sure you liked it. So the next step is we encourage you to jump in our Facebook group. Either two things: jump in our Facebook group and let us know what you liked, what our top tip was. Or the other thing is, if you don't want to go into the Facebook group, open a conversation with somebody about your thoughts and their thoughts, and reach out to someone. And if you would like some help, we are here for you. So that's our deliciously motivated mindset conversation. Top tips to help stop believing in your thoughts with Debz and Moira. Oh, that was a mouthful and a half.
That was good.
Thank
you
you,
said
everybody.
it without slurring it or anything. I'm impressed.
Yeah, without even having to mute. Thank you, everybody. We appreciate you coming along. Thank you, Internet. Thanks, Moira.
Thank you, dear Deb.
And
thank you,
we'll see what
listeners.
our thoughts do today. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Talk to you next time. Bye.